Gonzalez Olivieri, LLC is an immigration firm. We're a full-service, comprehensive immigration firm. A lot of folks in the U.S., when you talk about immigration, they have a preconceived notion of what kind of things that are involved when it comes to immigration. But we also have a business immigration team, and that's where myself and one of my fellow attorneys, Mario, are involved. We do primarily business immigration. We work with small companies. We work with investors, individuals who are looking at possibly investing in the United States, companies that are looking at opening a new office in the United States. So really, we work with all aspects of an immigration case, and we like to provide solutions for those companies. And a lot of times you'll have a client come in and they think they have a preconceived notion of what the solution is or what they need. And really what we like to do is we like to review everything, make sure that we vet the case very well, and then we can kind of provide them solutions, because a lot of them, it's case specific. The United States has specific treaties with certain countries, and sometimes there's solutions that are available that aren't available to everybody else. So you really have to kind of look at every individual and every individual beneficiary as well. You know, I previously worked at much larger immigration firms. We're kind of a boutique-sized firm. We have 13 attorneys and we have a lot more support staff. You know, but in my experience, what I found was that a lot of companies don't just bring people to the United States. They're not just bringing people to come work in the U.S. And you know, they're global multinational companies sometimes, or even if they're smaller companies, they still have multinational workforces, and they get contracts in other countries. It might be they need to send people to Angola, maybe to Brazil. And so what they have to do then is we have to work with people who aren't necessarily U.S. immigration attorneys. We certainly have the expertise when it comes to U.S. immigration law, and I have a vague idea of how things might work on the outer continental shelf in Angola or in Brazil, but I'm not, you know, the best person to help with that. So we want to make contacts with other people throughout the world, understanding that migration is global. And when we have those kind of contacts, we can share resources. We can tell them, hey, we don't necessarily have an office in Brazil, but we do have contacts there. We have people in the UK that can help you with that as well. You know, there's taxation issues that come up sometimes, especially when people are interested in acquiring permanent residency in the United States. So there's even opportunities for accountancy firms in the United States to work with us, because, you know, people are going to need that due diligence. You know, a lot of people will come and say, well, I want to become a permanent resident, but they don't have a concept that when you become a permanent resident in the United States, you also become, you know, a resident for tax purposes, and you have to pay income on global taxes on global income. So that's certainly something that they have to look at, and you know, we handle the immigration side, but we're really looking to partner with other firms to help with that other part as well. We handle primarily immigration law. Gonzalez Olivieri is a full-service immigration law firm. But if they have individuals that are looking to come to the United States to invest, or even when it comes to your clients that are of mergers and acquisitions entities that are acquiring U.S. entities, a lot of times the last thing people think about are the immigration consequences. But in fact, because of the way certain immigrant visas are set up, you know, L1 visas, for instance, where you transfer an employee from the company abroad to the company in the U.S., if there's a merger and acquisition, if there's a change in ownership from the company abroad, that's going to affect their ability to have that L visa. So a lot of the due diligence that needs to be done sometimes gets done on the back end, just because of the fact that it's kind of an afterthought for these companies. But we really want to be able to help them kind of look at things at the very beginning. So if there's companies that they know are going to acquire individual, you know, subsidiaries or individual locations in the United States, and they have employees that are currently employed on some type of visa, I mean, it's you know, it's a good idea. You know, obviously we won't talk to us, but if they talk to an immigration firm, that'd be a great idea as well, because we can help them kind of look at their employees and look at what their status is, and kind of help them make decisions as to how they're going to move forward, because it can fix everything from their ability to possibly move forward with their non-immigrant status to their ability to, you know, one day be a permanent resident in the United States. We're looking to, you know, connect with accounting firms abroad, other immigration firms in other locations that are not in the U.S. You know, even, like I said, mergers and acquisitions firms that do, you know, M&A work. We, you know, we're happy to work with them if there's an entity that's acquiring a U.S. enterprise that might have international workers or workers that are on visas. We really want to connect, you know, any kind of company that you know, might have some type of contact with either a company that has employees that are in certain immigration status or interested, or even entities that do due diligence for people that are interested in possibly making investments in the United States, because we're more than happy to kind of, give them an idea of how the process works. Like I said, I'm not a tax person, but, sometimes people have, some kind of issues with becoming permanent residents just because of the fact that it's kind of a different setup once you're a permanent resident of the United States as other parts of the world. And even if you don't have income in the United States, you're still going to be liable for those kind of things. And we don't provide that tax advice, but we want to work with other entities that do provide that advice. We can help with the immigration side. We can do all the due diligence on the immigration side. But it's good, and especially in many investor contexts, to partner up with other entities that provide some due diligence on investment, maybe even on the tax side of it as well. So far, everything, it's been really, really great. It's the first time I've been able to attend an event. I have a limited scope of reference, but from what I've seen so far, it's been a great opportunity to network, to meet with people from diverse different parts of the world and different types of practices. And it's a system that, to me at least, seems like it makes it very easy to connect to other people. There's been some informal dinners so far, and you just really get an opportunity to get to know people and kind of build kind of a common frame of reference. And to date, it's been a very good experience. Even before we came here, I've been working with Rachel and with Lorna, and they've been very helpful. They've been very good, very responsive. And so I would say it's been a very positive experience for us, and we hope to continue to build that relationship with IR Global. Well, really what we're talking about in the panel discussion is an issue that's kind of arisen around the world, and it seems to have kind of taken hold in the U.S. and parts of Europe, just kind of this sense of protectionism or nationalism, as some might call it. And I guess people might get the perception nowadays that the U.S. is sort of closed to any type of investment or immigration. But I want to make sure that people understand that the U.S. continues to operate the same way it did previously. They might scrutinize applications a little more closely than they used to previously, but things are still being approved. Things are still moving forward. And part of the reason you want to work with an immigration attorney or an immigration firm like ours is that we have the experience of working on these types of cases. We have the experience of scrutinizing applications and making sure that everything's well documented. And that's why it's so important to vet the case at the very beginning, because you don't want to give the government kind of an in or a reason or a rationale to deny something, and that's where the due diligence comes in as well. And so despite what you might hear in the media, despite what people might say, I think even our own president, when he was in Davos, mentioned that the U.S. continues to be open for business, and it's still a great place to have a company, to have an office, to have employees, and for all the negative attention that maybe has arisen, there's still a lot of good things about the United States, and there's still a lot of good things about doing business in the U.S. So there's definitely something we want to make sure that people understand.